Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're back on the channel. Today we have the Ultimate Advanced Player's Guide for Artifact Seeker. So we're just going to break down everything that really makes this game tick, and you're going to be able to absolutely smash Atonement, high Atonement levels. So let's just go over to the Magic Council first to start. Now, it's pretty obvious, but you really want to max everything out here as quickly as you can. You want to go for basic survival and damage stuff first, and there's two in here that you really want to go with. I've said in my other videos, reroll skill and divinity. These other ones can wait until later, until you have enough currency. You want to grab soul gem bonus, so you're grinding more currency more efficiently. And yeah, you just want to get this maxed out as quickly as possible. The easiest way to do that is to do high atonement levels when you play, because one of the atonement bonuses, if I show you quickly, down here in Atonement, the more of these you have unlocked, the higher your soul gem bonus is going to be up here. See, plus 292%. You also get more divinity to work with too, which is fun. So that's the quickest way. Now, obviously, you want to take these bonuses at the beginning here when they're available. If you're grinding currency, you get plus 20% from the special challenge, which is usually pretty easy to do. And obviously you want to take the gift from the gods when it's available for you. Alright, so I'm just going to come into the tavern quickly too. After you've unlocked all the characters, you want to keep talking to them, as they can actually give you special items sometimes if you go through all their dialogue. So you just want to make sure you keep going on here until they're all maxed out, and come in here, give them a little drink, it doesn't hurt. There you go. Don't forget to do that as well. Black market, you want to just level it up so you can have access to better potions along your travels. Now, obviously, there are a couple of potions here that are particularly strong. Now, Resurrection Scroll obviously gives you another life. That's pretty huge. On higher difficulties, you might need it. And then there's obviously the Devil Fruits, which is just base damage. And then there's just damage for all the other single types. You can also get more skill refreshers and stuff in here as well. So it just depends what he rolls in his shop. But getting him maxed out is just going to make it easier for you. Now let's talk about artifact synergies, because this is really a big one. Let's actually go to church down here. So when you're building a character, there's obviously the synergies, right? There's going to be the main two synergies your skills will have. So I've got two synergies down here. I don't know them by heart, sorry, by the little images. So, but obviously we're in Holy here, so that first one is Holy. But they all have two. But yeah, notice down here the artifacts also have the synergy. So these can add to your synergies. You don't actually have to take 6 skills to get 6 synergy level. Now you can really abuse this if you play really carefully, because the synergies aren't just for attacking. There are some other synergies here that are pretty useful. Let's just go through, for example, Vitality. Getting free HP and Reckless is pretty nice. Same to, obviously the damage ones are what they are. Let's have a look. Yeah, so this is an interesting one too. Godspeed will give you a ton of movement speed. As you can see, you have to go with these specific artifacts to get that. Scholar is interesting too. Having more XP during the run is going to enable you to level up more and get more skills maxed out. So this is an interesting one to grab as well. The main skill ones are what they are. Defense is also really good. Having free armor is really strong. Grabbing a few of these some of these are cheap too. Obviously, like Titan's Heart is an expensive one, but it's really strong as well. So you want to grab a few different defense ones along the way. If it's possible, getting to plus 50 armor for free just because you picked up some of these artifacts is really good. But you can go through here and have a look at all the other ones. There's a ton of different ones in here. Now, Demon Soul is an interesting thing. Well, I'm not going to go into that right now, but If you collect all the demon souls, I'll just go into it quickly. If you collect all the demon souls throughout a single run, you can unlock something special at the end there. We haven't actually done it on our account here yet, so that might be for a future video. All right. All right, don't forget to go into your obelisk and just collect everything. We'll see if I haven't here. We have something unclaimed. So don't forget to come in here every now and then and just claim everything. It gives you a ton of currency for free to come in here and just max everything out quickly. Obviously, you want to get your castle leveled up as well. That's pretty self-explanatory. All right, so you can get, what do we call them? Orange affixes. Let's see if I can... Here we go. We've got one here. Orange. So affixes can roll in 4 different rarities, right? The highest being orange. This is going to give you a huge boost to a stat. See, plus 20 just for one item that doesn't normally roll with intelligence is really, really strong. To re-roll them, you just come down here. This is a pretty straightforward tip, this one, but you just come down here, and you just spend a bit of currency. And as you can see, getting an orange one to show up here is actually pretty rare. We got a purple one there, so poison and skill power is actually kind of nice. And we got more poison there, so that's an interesting item there. As you can see, okay, we've got strength. That's not too bad. Frost skill power. Gold bonus. As you can see, getting the orange ones is really, really rare. So you're going to be spending a ton of currency trying to reroll for orange ones. Okay, so to that end, we did put up a thread on the Reddit page, which I'll show at the end of the video. But for now, yeah, this is how you do the rerolling, and you can share the codes, and we can put in codes to get other people's artifacts from the community, which is pretty cool. One of the coolest things about this game, I think. So we can go into the Reddit thread later. I can just quickly show you what's in there. Okay, so that's some sort of basic tips for building the character, like basic advanced tips. Okay, so we're just going to go into a game here quickly and just sort of mess around a bit and just show you some of the different things. Okay, so next let's talk about this starting page here where you can select all your artifacts and your skills and all that sort of thing. So obviously the weapon is the weapon choice up here. And each weapon will have 6 starter skills, so different skills that you can start with. So these cost currency to unlock. You don't have to unlock these, but they are pretty cheap. As you can see, I haven't unlocked that many on Alvid because I didn't play with him that much. I played with my first run with him, and then I didn't go back to him until we did the build guide here on the channel, which was really fun. So this is obviously what we were doing before with the Atonement stuff. So here's some interesting different things you can choose. You can try to go in with items that are balanced. See, plus 10 HP and plus 8 armor, but we also get plus 5 damage and plus 20 to the intelligence. So this particular item is an interesting one to choose to go in with because it really gives us an all-round nice kind of starter stat spread. Obviously, if you're going to go for a non-intelligence build, then maybe this item isn't the one you want to start with, but I really like going in with potions and potion mix and pharmacist here. Now, let's talk about potions for a second. On the easier difficulties, potions drop pretty often and they refill a ton of energy and a ton of health. So there's not really a need for potion mix that much. However, once you go up above Atonement 24, there are some pretty nasty modifiers there that make getting your energy back really, really slow. The energy is obviously for the special skill, so with Alvid, it's the Phantom Bat here. What Potion Mix allows you to do is get energy back when you pick up a health potion and vice versa. This is really, really strong if you can buff up through Pharmacist. So we like going in with Rainbow Potion. It gives us the extra skill charge. gives us potion mix 20%, and we've rolled with max HP, summon power, and rage here. We could change this up a bit if we wanted to, but this is a pretty good roll right now. Obviously, minus 16 armor isn't amazing, but as we were talking about before, you can get a ton of free armor in this game if you spec into the synergies. So the combination of that with water pouch here, giving you pharmacist and potion mix. Now I haven't, my roll here isn't super amazing. We could go in and reroll this. And because I didn't have that much divinity left, I only had a few points left to work with, we went in and buffed our pharmacist even more. So this particular starting combination is really useful on any character build. This is something that you can use for literally any character build, and it's a good starting basis, a good defensive basis. Every time you pick up a potion, it's going to heal you a ton, and it's going to give you a big chunk of energy back, much bigger than you normally would on Atonement, high Atonement levels. So I do recommend this particular loadout going in. However, something else you might want to consider if you're going for a more offensive build, if you want to just go more glass cannon or just go for all-round good attacking artifacts to start with. Going in with the Codex is interesting. These roll randomly and they're pretty rare, so it's hard to get one that goes with your exact synergy that you're working with, but they can be really powerful. Synergy Break allows you to go above the normal 6-level synergy. So going in with these is an interesting option. The other thing you might want to consider is if we went something like this, is starting to stack up damage type. So maybe that one's not the best example. We'll go with... so this is a Book of Abyss. This is a summoning basis. So if we were going to do a summoning build, we could go in with this one, for example. It has 2 summoning skills, plus I've rolled summoning skill power down here, and we've got max HP as a percentage, which is really strong. We'll go into that in a second. We could go in with something like this as a secondary one to just keep stacking our power. And this one doesn't have necessarily the best roll down here. We could re-roll that. But there's also, there's other ones for the different elements. We also have the souls. Now, the ones that come from the bosses, I don't recommend necessarily picking up because they're pretty easy to acquire along your run. However, the ones that come from the events can be pretty hard to come across. So especially if you're going to go for an all soul run, obviously you want to pick up these ones. Now, these give you plus 20% base damage increase, which is really good. 20% is obviously 20%. It's pretty good chunk out of a single artifact. There are obviously defensive artifacts as well. If you want to go hard into a defensive, what we've done up here is a good all-round sort of build to go in, because we do have some offense. The one when we had what did we have up there? We had the tentacle. So this has good all-around stats for keeping us alive, plus buffing our damage. So this is like a baseline that we sort of go. If you wanted to go, however, full-on defensive mode, you might want to consider switching some of them out, for example, for excuse me, for Dragon's Heart. Now, this is a really good defensive item because it gives you plus 10% and plus 250. So the 10% is going to increase every other gain that you get, every other HP gain that you get. So if you gain 100 HP, if you have plus 10%, you also gain an extra 10. This, of course, stacks and can be abused during your run, and if you get it up to, say, 20 or 30%, all of a sudden every health pickup you get from the shop is going to be amazing, and then all of a sudden you're going to have 7,000-8,000 health, and you're not going to be able to die. The other thing you want to consider is just taking some armor as well along the way. Armor's really strong once you stack it up. Taking the cheap ones is good. There are a few items you can take early on to buff, like the Potato of the Brotherhood. It's in here somewhere. But that one gives you a lot of armor early on and repairs your luck. So that one can be good to take. Ultimately, what you want to do here is really, you can either A, go an all-round type build to go in, or you can really specialize and go into whatever type of attack synergy that you really want to go in and go a little more glass cannon. Glass cannon can be a little dangerous in high atonement levels, but it is what it is. Alright, one other thing you're going to want to consider when you're going in is which skill you want to start with. Now, some skills are great once they're leveled up, but when they start out, they're going to be really, really slow, and you're not going to be able to get any levels off the first, zone or node here. So going in with something that actually has enough firepower to get you through some early waves and get you some early levels is going to be really strong. And you want to come down and grab these things every single time. What we're using here isn't necessarily great as a starter skill. So let's lure them into the spikes. Alright, so you're always going to be poor in your first shop. What can you do about it? One thing that you want to consider is which path you're going to take. Now, really early on, some builds are going to struggle with the elites, but I'd say once you get a couple of skills or one skill leveled up to, 4 or 5, you should really be okay taking on some elites. And if you're not, then you might want to consider sort of what your starting skill choice is and what you're leveling up. I think it's important to level up one skill early on by itself to really get something strong off the bat. So that will help if you grab a really strong starting skill. Here, Crescent Strike I don't actually think is that great. But as I said before, we haven't really played with Alvid that much, so I just haven't unlocked his other things. But going through and grabbing chests and elites, it really is good. The chests and elites guarantee you a lot of access to the cubes, which give you tons of upgrades and have the chance of rolling the really, really strong ones. You can take the events too. There's nothing wrong with that. What's our in? You always check before you go in there. And look, we've got a super skill there. So we can choose another one. Alright, when you're building your character, I don't really recommend going under about 20% move speed. Alvid is good because he has 20% at base, so he's got a bit of an advantage in terms of this particular stat. But what you really want to do when you're building out your characters, the strongest way I think to build a character is to grab max HP, grab either strength or intelligence depending on what your build requires. You don't have to worry about dodge. Dodge is strong if you can get it. Obviously, you can grab it, and that's not a problem. But dodge is not, in my opinion, not as strong as stacking HP and just having a good base amount of armor. Just being able to tank the hits and heal yourself off with potions is so much stronger than trying to build all out into dodge and then dying because you take a couple of hits and you can't survive because your armor and your HP sucks. It is a trade-off. If you can get all three, then you have a really, really strong defensive character. But usually on high atonement levels, one of these stats is going to end up being, left behind. HP is really easy to get, so I think going into HP makes a lot of sense for pretty much every build. Survivability is really necessary. Dodge, as I said, it's really nice. You are capped at a certain amount, which you can raise to, but getting high dodge is really nice, but if you can get a mix of all three, I mean, that is really good, but I personally recommend going into max HP and armor, really. I think dodge is nice, but it is hard to get a lot of dodge rolls to come up on the artifacts. As I said, move speed really strong. Armor piercing is just quietly a strong stat as well. Gives you see down here, even 20 armor piercing is giving you a 28% damage boost rate, it says, so no reason not to take it. Now, I think range is nice on a lot of builds. Not really any reason to not take range when you see it. Really not any reason not to take range when you see it, in my opinion. Now, there are some other stats down here which are interesting. One, the SP skill damage is pretty good. If you're going for a skill damage build, a skill type of build, one of the builds we did on the channel had 3 skill power slots, like 3 charges, and we were just going nuts, so we stacked it up really high, and that was really, really fun. As you can see, down here as a base, we have 32.8% pharmacist and 36% potion mix. So this is really strong. It might not seem that great on the surface, but on high atonement levels, this can absolutely keep you alive and keep your energy ticking for your super skill or your special skill. It can really help you. And these are the damage ones. Obviously, you want to go into whatever your build really is. That will obviously go nicely with strength or intelligence and your crit rate and that as well. Building crit is really strong. What I usually do is build crit towards the back half of the run. The first half of the run, I'm concentrating more on HP, survivability, and getting my skills leveled up. But towards the back half of the run, I think it makes sense to really go in for crit rate, damage, armor piercing, and really start stacking the DPS. You don't want to be stuck with low DPS for the last boss, because it can take 20 minutes or more if you have, crappy DPS, not enough stats. Now here we are with the Reddit page that I created. I've just put it up recently, haven't really done that much with it yet. Feel free to give me some suggestions to make it look a bit, nicer. In the meantime though, we've created this orange affix share code thread. So if you want to come in here and you can grab the share code, what you have to do is grab this. Just go into your artifact vault section and pop it in, and you can grab all of these artifacts now. I put up a few that I have when I first started the thread, and then a few other people have added some in, so you can come in here and grab some, and if you get some orange affixes of your own, you can come in here, just pop a post. All you got to do is really pop the codes down in here. You can even copy it to the clipboard from the game directly and just do copy paste. So the idea is to try and get 100 orange affixes listed in here, so everyone in the community can get the orange affix achievement and just get there's 3 orange affix achievements in total, but the highest one is to get 100. So that's the goal, is to get 100 listed in here. But if you want to come and grab some, there are some actually pretty good rolls in here. Go in and have a look and pick them up. Fill out your vault full of orange affixes. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that just about covers everything that I wanted to go over in the advanced player guide here for now. If there's any other suggestions that you have, please feel free to let me know. Drop a comment down below. If you consider like and subscribe the video to help us grow, that'd be awesome. And with that, everyone, you have a fantastic day, and thank you very much.